Hello everyone and welcome to a new project that will probably not be too regular but sort of intermittent, I guess, whenever I feel like it, whenever I have the time, and basically something interesting to show you. We will be playing Terraria, currently in the 1.3.0.8 patch. Really, that means 1.3. The 0.0.8, they made some minor adjustments to the game after 1.3, but 1.3 was the big patch. Just like 1.1 and 1.2, just saying. But again, in 1.3 they added a bunch of features and a ton of new items and bosses and just a lot of interesting things to the game. And then basically the 0.0.8 just means there have been some hotfixes since then to remove exploits and balance a little. Anyway, obviously be playing single player. I might be doing some co-op, actually, depends. Anyway, I do have a character here. This is my sort of first playthrough character, which is by now pretty well decked out. So we're going to make a new one. It's a little small, but that's our character. Quite frankly, I'm just going to hit random until I get something that I somewhat like. I do not care if it's male or female, just going for something reasonably okay, I guess. Oh, that looks okay. Do I want to change the hair color? Nah. Let's just stick to it. That's going to be our character. Character name. I'm really not good at these, so I'm just going to go with Tofu because that's somewhat the name of my channel. Not trying to indoctrinate anyone, do not eat tofu, it's disgusting. Okay. So, first things first, this is utterly important. Go into my normal world that I've already heavily modified. And pretend you don't see anything here. As I said, I do have a world and a character that are very well prepared and far into the game. But we're pretending that's not the case. I will not really be using that character a whole lot, and I will not be using that world a whole lot. I might on occasion for some things, but I will always make sure to tell you. We are actually going to create a new world. I think medium size is the most reasonable. That way you do get it's still a lot of space to explore. In a large world, I find the resources are too scattered, so it just takes longer to get them. And in a small world, it's a little cramped sometimes. So medium is the way to go for me. We will be playing in expert mode. And as I said, I do have a ton of items and a ton of stuff on that other character. I will not be using those. There might be an occasion where I farm for a certain item and I've killed 5,000 enemies and not gotten the item. I might just get it from the other world then. But I'm not just going to go into that other world and grab all the overpowered endgame gear and then blaze through expert mode. Not going to happen. All I got was a pet, which is purely aesthetic. I just wanted to have a pet. So let's call this expert medium, LP expert medium. And accept. This will take a little bit of time. So, this will sort of be episodic as, well, all my projects, I guess, but it'll be kind of, I'll do maybe 20 minutes or half an hour of gameplay. And then I'll probably take a break. And in that break, I'll do some boring stuff. Building, grinding, farming for stuff. And then probably just when something interesting happens, when I've got progress to show, I'll record another half hour or so of gameplay. So yeah, so I got my coffee, by the way. Nom nom nom. Definitely let me know if this sort of thing is something you like. Do you like Terraria? Do you play it yourself, maybe? But yeah, most importantly, let me know if this is something you'd like to see. I mean, if you say, we want to see everything, we don't want to see you skip anything, I can do that as well. I just record everything, but there will be boring sections where I'm just building a room for half an hour. Not in the beginning, but later on. In the beginning, my rooms are incredibly boring and standard. Okay, LP Expert Medium. Now you can see this is Expert mode. And you can tell from the tree, the sort of tree symbol for the world. This shows you basically what kind of world it is. So this, for example, it's got this purple stuff on one side and the green stuff on the other side. That means that this world has corruption and kind of normal stuff. Same here, corruption and normal stuff. This tree is red, but it also has a little bit of gold. The red stuff means crimson. It's kind of an alternative to the corruption. When you generate a world, you get either crimson or corruption. The areas are similar, but in terms of difficulty and the kind of stage of the game you get to go to them, but they are different in the sense that you get some different enemies, some different loot. There's some stuff you can only get in a world that has crimson or only in a world that has corruption, but in general they are interchangeable, and it's just a matter of preference, I guess, which one you prefer. I find the corruption to be a little easier, mostly because a boss fight that you have to do in corruption worlds, or you don't have to finish it, but you do have to at least go a bit into the boss fight to eventually progress through the game. Because you get certain items throughout the boss fight. Anyway, I find that boss fight to be a lot easier in corruption worlds. In corruptions you fight a big worm. In Crimson worlds you find a floating death machine. Not a death machine, but it's called the Brain of Cthulhu. It's a floating thing that teleports, and it's generally more annoying. And the golden bit means I have set this world into hard mode, which you do by defeating a certain boss, and that makes a third kind of biome called the Hello spawn, which is kind of like fairies and unicorns, but they all want to kill you anyway. Okay, but enough talking, let's go into our world. Okay, and straight away we spawned into a frozen forest. That's not exactly good. The beginning axe we get is painfully slow. I am aware of that, but there's nothing to be done about it. I do need to chop down a fair amount of trees. Now, because this is expert mode, if you move into deeper water, this apparently isn't deep enough, but if you go into deeper water in a frozen biome, you will get the chilled debuff, so you actually will get slowed down. And just a general recommendation, do not use the starter weapon that you get. Let me just show you. Oh, and let's equip this actually. So our starter weapon is a heavy copper short sword. I mean, it's heavy, so that's even worse, but this has got a stabbing animation. On the other hand, your pickaxe has a swinging animation, does a fair amount of damage. Except it does not have enough knockback to deal with ice slimes, apparently. Well, actually, it works. Just mustn't be silly. Yeah, this is expert mode, meaning all the enemies have, I think, double health and double damage. So even the normal beginner slimes are troublesome, as you can see. And that's another reason I do not like being in the ice biome, or that close to the ice biome in the beginning. Ice slimes are more difficult than the standard ones. Plus, as I said, if you move into too deep water, you'll get chilled, which slows you down, and that's just tedious. And yeah, you see this little fellow who's following us now, this kind of dinosaur. That's the item I grabbed from my sort of advanced world, I guess. It's purely aesthetic. It does not fight for us. It does not do any damage. It doesn't stop enemies. It just looks funny. I like it. I do like the pets in the game, and I felt like getting a pet from an advanced world is perfectly fine. I guess if that annoys you, I'm not gonna put it away. I might get a different pet on occasion. There are a bunch of them, and I have access to quite a few. But yeah. Do not expect me to put that away. I won't. How much gel do I have? 8. Okay. So I'm going to put all that gel into the torches. 27. Nice. Now, as you can see, or as you possibly can't see, but I'm going to explain it now, that normal slime has bunny ears. That's because it's Halloween, or it's about Halloween anyway. It's actually a little past Halloween, but the event's still going, essentially. And that just means there's some certain special drops, and some enemies look a little different. Doesn't change anything really, it just... I don't know, like some of the slimes, for example, are dressed up as bunnies, and some of the bunnies are dressed up as slimes, and stuff like that. It's really inconsequential, but kind of cool. Okay, and we've gotten our first chest. Let's see what we get. Ugh, not terribly good. The recall potions are nice. The climbing claws, actually they're lucky, that's good. So, climbing claws allow me to slide down walls. It's not terribly bad, it's just... I could have... There's some other stuff that I might have preferred. Ah, but this is nice. Bladed glove, that's good. It's a very short range melee weapon, which I'm not sure how much that'll work out in expert mode, but it has really fast attack speed. So that actually benefits hugely from the critical damage bonus, critical chance bonus we have on the climbing claws. As you can see, +4 critical crit chance, critical hit chance. Wow. And you see, by the way, that's bunnies dressed up as slime. Bunnies are not a threat. You can kill them if you really want to, but you can also leave them alive if you feel like maybe murdering bunnies is bad for your karma. It's not, but, you know, some people are like that. Yeah. Any sort of accessory that you can find can spawn randomly with an enchantment. Oh, there's another chest down there, nice. Later on you'll have the ability to actually influence these enchantments, but right now we have to take them as we get them. And, oh nice, a menacing aglet. I'm being really lucky on the enchantments. The enchantments can come in varieties of +1%, +2%, +3%, or +4%. I believe crit chance doesn't actually get 1 and 3%. So you only get either 2 or 4%. And there's one other thing. Oh, should loot all. There's one other thing, which you can also get them to have +20 mana, which I'll get to when we actually start doing mana related stuff. But yeah, when you find them in nature, they can have a random attribute already, like a random enchantment, I guess. Go on, come down. Come on, feel the wrath of my bladed glove. No? Hop, you little bunny. But you're not a bunny. Oh, for heaven's sake. Die then. Because I do want to harvest this tin ore. It's not much, but it'll help out in the beginning. Okay, we should be able to traverse this. And yeah, I've gotten really quite lucky. Quite often. The stuff you find won't have any enchantments whatsoever. But I've gotten a lucky, which is a 4%, so that's the maximum. And I've gotten a menacing aglet, which has 4% additional damage, which is also the maximum enchantment you could have. I mean, you could get 4% like melee speed, or you could get 4% something else. But just having it be at the numeric value of 4 means it's quite good. It's the highest possible I could have gotten, basically, at this point. Well, ever. I'll just be able to influence that later on. Once I've unlocked a certain NPC, I'm able to reforge. And that means I could, for example, make this... I don't know, I could say, I don't know, I don't need the additional damage, I'd rather have melee speed, for example. Which might make sense for a weapon like the Bladed Glove, which already has incredible speed, so increasing that even further can be very helpful. The advantage is, of course, that this will apply if I have a weapon that if I were to apply debuffs with my weapon, the faster weapon would apply it more frequently. Stuff like that. Anyway, I am quite lucky having found the Bladed Glove so early, and that was just a random drop. Let's kill that squirrel. And I'm also very happy to have found those two accessories. The aglet increases my movement speed a little bit, and I'll try to show you what the gloves do, the Bladed Gloves, in just a second. But first, let's get out of here. I do want to find a place to be somewhat safe for the night. I currently don't have any means of actually telling the time, but we'll get there. Oh, and we found a strange plant. I think these were added in 1.3. I guess at this point there isn't really much use for them yet, and I really don't have any blocks. I'll remedy that by mining some stone. The strange plants, we can eventually trade these for special dyes. Just basically ones that look cool. We need the dye trader for that. Now again, because dyes are purely cosmetic, I might actually, if I get a bunch of strange plants but don't have the dye trader yet, I might just go ahead, move into my other world and, you know, say, okay, I do have dyes here, or I do have the NPC here, I'll just go and trade them in my other world. I mean, technically it's cheating and using something I don't have access to yet, but I will be doing that for stuff that's purely cosmetic. For example, if I find that I don't like the looks of this character, I might want to have a costume. So I might equip something in the vanity slot right here. Social slot, they're called. This only changes the looks, it does not have any effect on stats. So again, this is something that I might well do just because it's a bit, I don't know. It might be more interesting to have some cool looking stuff. Okay, so I have somewhat walled off this cave. I know it's not walled off fully yet. There's 3 block tall gaps. And those are fully intentional. I do want to get through my first night without dying. So, first things first, we will be making a workbench from 10 pieces of wood. And then we will be making, because why not, I have some of that boreal wood, which I got from the frozen, or the snowy biome in the very beginning. And I'll just put a door here. Actually I can't, because there's debris in the way. This is kind of background stuff. Now one thing that's quite important, especially on expert mode, place a torch right behind. That makes this door zombie proof. Because I'll show you. You can walk out just fine, but if you stand facing the door and trying to open it, I'm spamming right click here, which should open the door, but it can't. It tries to open the door away from me, but that would force the door into the torch, and it can't be in that location. So what you have to do to get in is look away from the door and click behind you, and that works. But the enemies can't do that. At least they can't on normal mode. Perhaps in expert mode there's some that can. I also think there's some enemies that can actually break down doors, but they're much more rare. So, always place a torch behind the door on the inside, and that way you're safe from at least the standard type of door opening zombie. Okay. Oh, nice, ravens. Yeah, this is expert mode. I've only played kind of normal mode so far. And expert mode is more difficult. The normal enemies, I believe, don't have any super new features. They mostly have increased stats. So increased damage and defense, maybe? I know they also have increased health. Not so sure if they have any actual new AI features. The difference is most noticeable in the bosses, though. They actually have new AI features. And new attacks and patterns and stuff like that. Okay, and I've also looted two chests already, so I can place these down. And there's yet more debris down here. Ugh. And from one of those chests I got 7 lead bars. I'm afraid that's not going to be enough for anything, though. I mean, I could make an anvil, but yeah. Oh, and 13 lesser healing potions. That's not too bad. Okay, so I'm guessing this is an episode. I'll release this as a pilot without recording anything more for the moment, just to see if this is actually something anyone wants to see, basically. So yeah, let me know. Do you want to see more of this, or is this just completely lame and boring and you don't want to see this? And if you like to see it, probably by next time I'll have some kind of rudimentary base set up here so that I'm a little more safe. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Again, please let me know. Give me some feedback in the comment section. That's what it's there for. And yeah, bye bye.